Hello all, welcome to another lecture of substitution techniques. But this time we are going to learn a different type of a technique that is known as a transposition technique, where the alphabets are being transposed. The position of the alphabets are being changed, and this position is changed with two different formats. And those two different formats are key and keyless formats of the transposition techniques. So let's begin with this lecture. First we will see what basically the transposition technique is. Transposition technique is a cryptographic technique that converts the plain text into the ciphertext. Very basic definition, that it is a cryptographic technique which converts your plain text into the ciphertext. Till now, what all ciphers, what all substitution techniques we have studied, they all comes under the category of cryptographic technique only. It does so by performing the permutations on the plain text. It does so, that means it performs the cryptography by performing permutations on the plain text letters, that is changing the position of each character of plain text for every round. And the different types of the transposition techniques which we have to study here are, first one is the rail fence technique, simpler columnar transposition technique, simpler columnar transposition technique with multiple rounds. Actually, it is known as simple columnar, simpler columnar, whatever. The next type of the transposition technique is the Varnam cipher and the book cipher. These are also the techniques which helps you to encrypt the plain text into the ciphertext into a secured way. Now, let's see what are the different types of the transposition technique. First, they are being broadly divided. Firstly, they are being broadly divided into two types, that is the key and the keyless. Key transposition technique has an example of the columnar transposition techniques. Keyless has an example of a rail fence technique. Let's begin with the keyless transposition technique, wherein we have to study about the rail fence transposition technique. Now, what basically happens in the rail fence transposition technique? It is considered as the simple transposition technique, which involves writing plain text as a sequence of diagonals and then reading it row-wise. That means whatever the plain text is being given to you, you just have to arrange the letters of the plain text in the form of the diagonal, and then you have to convert the plain text into the ciphertext. And for converting the plain text into the ciphertext, while writing down it again, what we have to do is we just have to write the alphabets in row by row format to produce its corresponding ciphertext. So rail fence can be then arranged in 2 rows also, or in 3 rows until and unless it is specified. If it is not specified, then you will have to arrange the plain text alphabet in the form of diagonals, or in the form of diagonals having 2 rows. So what the algorithm of the rail fence transposition technique says? The first step is we have to just write down all the characters of the plain text message in the sequence of diagnosis, that means the sequence of the diagonals. Step 2 is we just have to read the plain text written in the step 1 as a sequence of row, and then whatever the letters are written in the first row, we just have to write those letters in the sequence, and that sequence of letters falling in the first row will be followed by the sequence of letters falling in the second row. To understand this concept in a better way, let's take an example. Suppose we have a plain text corporate bridge and we want to convert it into the ciphertext. So first we will arrange the plain text in the sequence of diagnosis in the sequence of diagonals as shown in the figure below. We are first arranging this plain text into two rows. So as you can see, C followed by R followed by O, A, E, R, D and E in the first row, and in this other row we can see that in the diagonal position of the C, the second letter of your plain text is written. Then in the diagonal position of the R, the fourth letter of your plain text is written. Third diagonal position, sixth letter. Fourth diagonal position, eighth letter. So in this way, you just have to write the sequence in the form of the rows, or we can say that we have to write the plain text in the sequence of the diagonals. And now when we have to write the ciphertext of this plain text, how we will write? We will be writing all the letters which are falling in the first row first, followed by all the letters falling in the second row. So the plain text which we had, that is corporate bridge, is now converted into the ciphertext as CROARDEOPRTBIG. Now this is the word which doesn't have any real meaning. It is just the ciphertext having no meaning in it. So the rail fence technique is quite easy to break, as we saw that we just have to arrange the alphabets in different rows and then we have to write the letters row wise to convert the plain text into the ciphertext with the help of the rail fence transposition technique. Let's take another example. Defend the east wall. Here also we have to arrange the alphabets in two rows in the form of the diagnosis, in the form of the diagonals. So D and then E will be written diagonal to the D, F will be written diagonal upwards to the E, E then will be written as diagonal downwards to the F, N diagonally upwards to E. In this way we have to arrange the alphabets in the diagnosis format. And then for converting the plain text of defend the east wall into the ciphertext, we will be writing all the letters which are falling in the first row first, followed by all the letters which are falling in the second row. And thus we get the ciphertext by writing the plain text alphabets row wise. For the plain text defend the east wall, we can get the ciphertext as DFNDEATALEEDHESWL. Now guys, you can see that this word doesn't have any real meaning. Okay, so you might have got the concept of how the rail fence technique, which comes under the type of keyless transposition technique, works. Now here one point is to be noted, that number of rows is 2 by default until and unless it is specified. This rearrangement of the alphabets in the diagonal format can also be done in the 3 rows. Hope you might have got this concept of the rail fence and the transposition technique. Thank you.